Welcome to the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs, the hardest working committee in the Nevada State Legislature. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Assemblyman Carter.
Present.
Assemblyman DeLong.
Still here.
Assemblyman De Silva. Assemblywoman Duran. Assemblywoman Gonzalez.
Here.
Assemblyman Gurr.
Right next to DeLong.
Assemblyman Hibbets. Assemblyman Koenig. Assemblyman MacArthur. Assemblyman Wynn. Assemblywoman Taylor. Assemblywoman Thomas. Chair Torres.
Welcome to the audience in Carson City, those joining us in a packed room in Las Vegas, and those listening over the internet. I understand that there's many people, our fans are watching, and we're definitely having a lively meeting this morning. Just a couple housekeeping items. Please remember to silence your electronic devices. If you wish to testify, please sign in at the table by the door and provide a business card to the committee secretary. For those joining online, please be sure to mute your microphone when you're not speaking to minimize background noise. When testifying, please turn on the microphone and clearly state your name, spell your name, and state your affiliation, if any, for the record. Then turn the microphone off each time you're done speaking. Handouts should have already been provided to the committee staff. We expect courtesy and respect in our interactions during the meeting, even if we do not agree with another person's position. I know we have some really contested bill hearings today. Committee members will be using their laptops to view handouts and other documents. Please do not view this as a sign of disrespect or inattention. Public comment will be taken at the end of the meeting. Each person will be limited to 2 minutes. In addition, the public may submit written testimony to the committee up to 24 hours after the hearing. We are going to go ahead and start with our work session today. As a reminder to the committee, it is not customary for the committee to take a testimony or otherwise rehear the bills during a work session. However, I may invite a witness to come forward for clarification or questions during consideration of a measure. Today, we are going to go ahead and start with SB 19.
Thank you, Chair Torres. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. As LCB staff, I don't advocate for or against legislation. I'm just going to walk you through the work session. Senate Bill 19 authorizes a Board of County Commissioners to provide by ordinance for the formation of an unincorporated town that includes territory that is conveyed or transferred to the county or authorized to be conveyed or transferred to the county pursuant to certain federal law or is located not more than 1 mile from such territory. The bill also makes various related provisions involving public hearings, a town advisory board, corporate limits of a city, and annexation. There are no amendments for this measure. Thank you.
I apologize. My mic was not on. So we did entertain a motion, and I'll just go ahead and redo that motion. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for SB 19. I have the motion from Assemblyman Wynn. Do I have a second? Second. I have the second from Assemblywoman Thomas. Members, any discussion? All right. At this time, we'll go ahead and take the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This motion does carry, and we will go ahead and assign the floor statement to Assemblywoman Duran. Next, we'll move on with SB 81.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 81 requires through 2026 representatives from Carson City and Douglas, Lyon, Story, and Washoe counties and the incorporated cities within each of these counties to meet to discuss and identify positive and negative issues relating to growth in the region. The county managers of such counties are further required to prepare and approve an annual report that makes recommendations intended to resolve any negative impacts on the orderly management of growth in the region. The measure also requires the majority leader of the Senate and the Speaker of the Assembly to each appoint 2 members from their respective houses, 1 from the majority party and 1 from the minority party, and to meet jointly with certain representatives to identify and discuss positive and negative issues relating to growth in the region. The legislative members and each city manager who participates in these joint meetings serve in an ex officio capacity. There is an attached amendment submitted by the bill sponsor at the hearing, and the bill sponsor additionally requested that it be clear that the report required in subsection 2 of section 1 be a joint report. There was a small typo in the amendment, however, that was not actually in the bill language. And the other thing I wanted to mention is Mary Walker had proposed an amendment at the bill hearing, and it was that those two members that are to be appointed by or designated by the majority leader of each house, so the Speaker and the Senate Majority Leader, instead one of them would be appointed by the Assembly Minority Leader and the Senate Minority Leader. So that would be the minority minority representative in each house would be appointed by them. So sorry about that. I did not get that in the work session document, but that is also up for consideration.
One minute recess. All right, we're going to go ahead and go on. Members, any questions? At this time, I will entertain a motion to amend and do pass on SB 81. Vice Chair Duran.
I would like to make the motion to accept Daley's proposed amendment.
Okay, so we will be.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Vice Chair Duran. So Vice Chair Duran is making a motion to amend and do pass SB 81 with the amendment as a work session document reads. Members, is there any discussion? Oh, sorry. Thank you for the second. I have the second from Assemblyman Nguyen. Members, any discussion? It doesn't appear there's any discussion. At this time, we'll go ahead and move on to the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Nay. Can the nays raise your hand? So I have a nay from Assemblyman MacArthur, Assemblyman Koenig, Assemblyman Hibbett, Assemblyman Gurr, and Assemblyman DeLong. This motion does carry, and I will assign the floor statement to Assemblyman Taylor. At this time, we'll go ahead and move on to SB 247.
Thank you, Chair Torres. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 247 authorizes instead of requires the Board of County Commissioners and the City Council of each of the three largest cities in a county whose population is 700,000 or more, currently only Clark County, to establish a regional planning coalition by cooperative agreement. There are no amendments for this measure.
Members, any questions? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to do pass on SB 323. Right? Was that? I apologize. On a motion to amend and do pass on SB 247. I have the motion from Assemblyman Nguyen. Do I have a second? I have a second from Assemblyman De Silva. Members, any discussion? Yes, Assemblyman Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's amend and do pass. I don't think I see the amendment.
The motion, I apologize. Assemblyman Nguyen, is the motion to do pass? Yes. The motion is to do pass.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Members, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This motion does carry, and I will assign the floor statement to Assemblyman Gonzalez. Thank you. We'll move next to SB 323.
Thank you, Chair Torres. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 323 requires the Peace Officers Standards and Training Commission to adopt regulations to establish standards for the reciprocity of a person from another state or the federal government with a certification or law enforcement training equivalent to serve as a Category 3 peace officer in this state. There are no amendments for this measure.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? I did want to just have it very clear on the record that this was inclusive of like tribal law enforcement. Is that correct, legal?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Asher Killian, Committee Counsel. So it's my understanding that most tribal law enforcement are certified under federal law, and the bill does provide for inclusion of certification under federal law. Additionally, the requirements established by the bill are a floor rather than a ceiling. So to the extent that any tribal law enforcement are not currently certified under federal law, Post would have the ability to adopt regs that do include those tribal law enforcement officers.
Thank you. Members, are there any additional questions? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to do pass on SB 323. I have the motion from Vice Chair Duran, and I have the second from Assemblywoman Gonzalez. Is there any discussion? It doesn't appear there's any. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? This motion does carry. And I will assign the floor statement to Assemblyman Hibbets. And we'll move next to SB 433.
Thank you, Chair Torres. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 433 requires the Labor Commissioner to adopt regulations establishing the factors to be considered when determining whether prevailing wages are required to be paid on a public works project. The bill also provides that the Labor Commissioner is not bound by any determination or finding of a public body relating to the applicability of the requirements for the payment of prevailing wages. Lastly, any determination made by the Labor Commissioner regarding the applicability of those requirements is a final order for the purposes of judicial review. There are no amendments.
Members, are there any questions? Doesn't appear there's any. At this time, I entertain a motion to do pass on SB 433. I have the motion from Assemblyman De Silva, and I have a second from Assemblywoman Gonzalez. Members, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Nay. Could the nays raise their hand? Assemblyman MacArthur, Assemblyman Koenig, Assemblyman Hibbets, Assemblyman Gurr, and Assemblyman DeLong. And this motion does carry. I will assign the floor statement to Assemblyman Carter. And this does conclude our work session for today. I will let the committee know that we will have a work session tomorrow. We'll be posting that agenda shortly. We will also have one bill likely that's going to be referred to our committee. So we will have one bill being heard tomorrow as well. And at this time, we will open the hearing on AB 514, which revises provisions governing public buildings. And we have the Minority Leader with us. When you're ready, you may begin.
Just came from Ways and Means, and that's all the agencies are asking for new office equipment. I think I may put in a request for new chairs for us. Anyways, so moved. Good morning, Chair Torres and members of the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs. I am P.K. O'Neill, and I represent and honored to represent Assembly District 40. I'm happy to be here today to present to you Assembly Bill 514. The bill proposes to rename the headquarters of the Nevada Department of Transportation, or as we often refer to, NDOT, to the Garth Dull Building here in Carson City. With me today in support of this is Garth's wife, Cheryl Lau, who, may I also add, was the first Asian American Secretary of State here in Nevada. Am I allowed to say oldest daughter? Yes. His oldest daughter, Cheryl Price, her son, Cameron Price, the grandson to Garth, and then Cameron's wife, Sierra, should be sitting up there in the corner waving at you, all in support. And Chair, if you'd like, before I go on, I'd like to let them make a few quick statements about this bill and what is important to them with it, if that's with your permission.
Yes, please proceed.
Good morning. AB 514 is an excellent bill because it demonstrates all of the work that workers do and the contributions that they make to the state of Nevada. Garth Dull has worked at NDOT for more than 30 years. And as director, he has led the department through many challenges, thus keeping NDOT very well respected and regarded in the state as well as the nation. I hope you will favorably consider AB 514. Thank you.
Hi, Cheryl Price, daughter of Garth Dull. This would be a huge honor to me and my family. I have never known anywhere in life where NDOT wasn't spoken on a daily basis. Sorry, I speak for Cameron as well. This would be a huge honor, and of course, we're in full support. Thank you.
Cameron's smart. Less is more. And I think what they said pretty much summarizes what I will give to you very quickly. But may I say, Garth Dull is a true testament to state service and demonstrated how hard work can bring forward success. While he was born in Douglas, Wyoming, Nevada was truly his home for most of his 81 years. Garth began working for NDOT in 1960, where he started off with painting the lines on the streets. In 1962, he was drafted into the United States Army, where he spent 3 years in Germany. Upon his return, he resumed his career at NDOT, where he became the first graduate of the Engineer in Training Program, 1975. He continued his education and his promotions to the Chief of Road Design, serving as Deputy Director, and due to his hard work, dedication to the department, Mr. Dull would eventually be promoted to Director, ending a decades-long climb of leadership position at NDOT. He retired in 1995, capping off more than 30 years of service to Nevada and NDOT. Garth was a leader, a great leader, who served his state and his country with a sense of humor and quick wit that endeared him to all his co-workers and family. He traveled extensively with his wife for almost 34 years, Cheryl, and he was a devoted father to 2 daughters, Cheryl and Sydney, and 5 grandchildren, Mackenzie, Cameron, Kyle, Cole, and Landon, and even 1 great-grandchild, Declan. Garth unfortunately passed away April 18, 2021, but he remains an inspiration to all of us, and particularly to state employees as an example of what you can do if you commit. Renaming the building that houses NDOT is the perfect way to memorialize his service and to show appreciation to our state employees for the work they do. State workers, as we all know, are the very backbone of everything we do in public service. They're the ones who get the job done, and Garth Dull was one of the best. He started from humble beginnings and worked hard, earning the respect of his colleagues and rising to the top of his department. And with that, Chair, I'll go through the bill itself, but I think that pretty much states the bill. There are letters of support up on Nellis from various individuals, including Senator Richard Bryan, who also has a building named after him. Naming a building after a state employee is not unique, may I also say. Down in Las Vegas, several buildings are named after various individuals, including the Parole and Probation Building, known as the Campos Building. So this is not any unique activity that we're requesting for you today. And Bill, or Chair, unless you actually want me to go line by line through the bill, I think I've pretty much said most of what we're doing here.
Thank you, Assemblyman. I don't think it's necessary that we have a line by line, but I do know that there might be a couple questions. So I'll go first. Assemblyman Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, Mr. Leader, and Secretary of State. It's very good to meet you. And congratulations on getting here for the accomplishments of your dad and grandfather. Just a quick question. What's the building name? Is the building named now?
No, it's actually like most state buildings that aren't dedicated, they have a number, and I forget the number to it.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Members, any additional questions? I don't believe there's any additional questions, but I did personally want to just thank the Dull family for the contributions of your father to making this state great. We appreciate it. And thank you for your presentation. At this time, we'll go ahead and move on to support for AB 514. So I invite anyone wishing to testify in support for AB 514. I don't believe I see anybody else here in Carson City. Is there anybody in Las Vegas wishing to testify in support of AB 514? I don't see any. BPS, is there anyone on the phone wishing to testify in support of AB 514?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and move into opposition. Is there anyone wishing to testify in opposition to AB 514? I don't see any here in Carson or any in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition to AB 514?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and go to neutral. Is there anyone wishing to testify in neutral to AB 514? I don't see any here in Carson. Is there anyone? I don't see any in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify neutral to AB 514?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you. At this time, I'll invite the bill sponsor for any closing remarks.
Thank you. PK O'Neill for the record.
Now, Assemblyman, I think you have to teach the Senate how it's done, because yesterday the Senate came in here, when we gave closing remarks, it was like 10 minutes long. I kid you not. And I think they could learn a thing or two from you. So if you see my counterpart in the Senate, make sure you let them know that they don't have to be that long. At this time, we can go ahead and close the hearing on AB 514. At this time, I do believe that this bill was very straightforward. I think members had the opportunity to look, to have a good conversation about it. With permission from the speaker, we do have permission to move this bill today and suspend the 24-hour rule. So we are going to go ahead and move this piece of legislation today. We do not need to make a motion because we do have the permission from Speaker Yeager. So at this time, we are going to go ahead and work session AB 514. I'll go ahead and defer to research.
Okay, this is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst, and you just heard the presentation on the bill, AB 514, which is proposing to rename the headquarters of the Nevada Department of Transportation to rename it the Garth Dole Building. And you heard that Garth Dole was an exemplary state employee who had over 30 years of work experience within the Department of Transportation. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to do pass. I have the motion from Assemblyman DeLong, and then I have the second from Assemblyman Nguyen. Members, are there any further discussion? Oh, we have a question. I apologize. Assemblyman DeLong.
I think it's just we're naming the building. We're not renaming.
Can you want to hit your mic, please?
Sorry. I think we're just naming the building, not renaming it.
Yes, thank
Just
you.
to be
Thank you for the
accurate.
clarification. We are naming the building the Garth Dole Building. All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and take the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? This motion does carry, and I will assign the floor statement to Assemblyman O'Neill. Thank you so much, family, and congratulations. And at this time, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item on our agenda, which is public comment. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in public comment? I don't see any BPS, and I don't see any in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in public comment?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to provide public comment at this time.
All right, at this time, members, any remarks? All right, so tomorrow we will be accepting a bill and we'll update the agenda. We'll post an agenda at our earliest convenience, I promise. And at this time, the committee is adjourned. We are good.